Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a small kingdom called Eldoria, surrounded by majestic mountains, deep forests, and endless rivers. In the heart of this kingdom, there was a hidden lake said to possess magical powers. Legend spoke of a spirit living in the lake, granting wisdom, courage, and great fortune to those who found it. Many adventurers had tried to discover the lake, but none had ever returned. Some believed it was just a myth, while others whispered that the spirit protected the lake from greedy hearts. The young traveler. In a small village near the castle, a young boy named Elias lived with his grandfather. Elias was curious, brave, and full of dreams. He had always been fascinated by the stories of the hidden lake. One evening, as his grandfather sat by the fireplace, Elias asked,
"Grandfather, do you think the hidden lake is real?"
"Many believe it is," his grandfather said with a smile. "But only those who seek it with a pure heart will find it." Elias felt a spark of excitement. He had always wanted an adventure, and this was his chance. That night, under the silver light of the moon, Elias packed a small bag, some bread, a flask of water, and his grandfather's old compass, and set off into the great unknown. Elias walked through the dense forest where ancient trees whispered in the wind. The path was dark and shadows danced on the ground. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Who walks through my woods?" Elias turned and saw a wise old owl perched on a branch. Its eyes gleamed like golden lanterns.
"I am Elias, searching for the hidden lake."
"The lake is not for the greedy or the weak," the owl hooted. "But if your heart is pure, I shall give you a clue." Elias nodded eagerly. "Follow the sound of silence, and you will find what you seek." With that, the owl flew away, disappearing into the night. Elias thought for a moment. Follow the sound of silence? It was a strange riddle, but he knew he had to keep going. After walking for hours, Elias reached a shimmering river. It was unlike any river he had ever seen. Half of it flowed swiftly, while the other half was completely still. Two signs stood by the river. The fast path, quick but dangerous. The silent path, slow but safe. Elias remembered the owl's words. He chose the silent path, stepping carefully across the stones. It took longer, but he stayed calm and patient. As he reached the other side, a golden butterfly landed on his shoulder. Its wings sparkled in the sunlight. "You have chosen wisely," it whispered. "True strength lies in patience, not speed." Then, it flew ahead, guiding Elias deeper into the forest. After a long journey, Elias arrived at a clearing. In the middle stood a glowing blue lake, hidden between tall cliffs and surrounded by silver mist. It was the hidden lake. As he stepped closer, the water shimmered, and a figure rose from the depths, a woman dressed in flowing robes, her hair made of stardust. She was the guardian of the lake. "You have found what many have failed to see," she said, her voice echoing like the wind. "Tell me, child, why have you come?" Elias bowed his head.
"I seek knowledge, wisdom, and a way to help my people."
The guardian studied him carefully. "Most come here searching for power or riches, but you seek wisdom. That is rare." She lifted her hands, and the water glowed brighter. "Then listen well, young traveler." She told him 3 great truths. 1, true strength is not in muscles, but in kindness. 2, true wisdom is not in books, but in understanding others. 3, true treasure is not gold, but the love of those around you. Elias felt his heart grow lighter. These lessons were greater than any gold or magic. The guardian smiled. "Now go home and share what you have learned." With that, the lake shimmered, and Elias felt himself lifted by a gentle breeze. Before he knew it, he was standing back in his village, his heart full of newfound wisdom. Elias hurried to his grandfather, who was waiting by the fire. "I see adventure has changed you," the old man said, smiling. Elias nodded.
I found the hidden lake, grandfather, but more importantly, I found the truth.
And so, Elias grew into a great leader, guiding his people with kindness, wisdom, and love, proving that the greatest treasure in the world is not power, but a pure heart.